Hey everybody, it's me, Migueltio, the North Country Latino, and today is a very important day out of the year. It's the day to make Pan De Muertos. Now what I'm going to be making actually is a double recipe. One recipe makes two loaves, and this is going to be 4 loaves. We have orange peel, anise seed, yeast, flour, and today I'm using pure cane sugar since I have to use sugar at all. I'm scalding some milk right now, and that's going to start the basis of our bread. It's skim milk, of course. When I started this recipe, it practically took me all day to do because, you had to do a lot of things with it. But I've been able to kind of work myself up with it, so it's not so long, you know what I'm saying? So that milk's going to scald, and then we're going to add things to it. Now in this bowl I've got some very softened, light margarine, and I'm going to pour this skim milk over it. And that's going to sit for a while to cool. Now I've got the 2 packages of yeast into this bowl. I'm going to pour over it half a cup of warm water so it'll dissolve. Then I'm going to take the sugar and just give it a little pinch to start off with. You use a little more later, but this helps season the yeast. And there you go. And that's going to bubble up and get all nice and frothy. Now to deal more with the milk and butter mixture. You're going to take your anise seed and put some over that, a teaspoon. And then the orange peel, which I got in the bag from Peter's Cornucopia, which is an awesome health food store down in New Hartford, suburban Utica. 2 teaspoons of the orange peel, given this is a double. And then add on to that a cup of the sugar. And you need a little salt. Not my favorite to put in thing. Just a teaspoon or so. And then you just stir all that together. And the butter is well softened by now. Excuse me, the light margarine. And you let it cool for a little bit. Now you're going to use some eggs here. And of course you know what I use. I use the phony eggs. It's about 10 eggs worth with the double recipe. And then you take about 4 tablespoons of that and put aside for a glaze. Now we're going to pour this yeast into the milk mixture. And we're also going to add the rest of the eggs. And as usual, just stir it together. The next part is all that flour over there. And I've started to put some in now. It's about 10 cups of flour for this double. Because a single is about anywhere from 5 to 5.5 or so. So yeah, there's more than 10 cups here. You just have to put it in and stir everything together. You've got your yeast, you've got your milk, you've got your butter, you've got your anise seed and orange peel, and your sugar, and your little pinch of salt. And you stir this in to a nice silky batter. you just keep working it and working it until it's ready to go. Yeah, it's easier when you're just making a single, but hey, I love making this stuff. And I love making it every year for people to enjoy as well as myself. Now, as you can see, this is quite wet, so it's certainly not ready to be taken out yet and kneaded, so you got to add some more flour to it. And don't be afraid to do that, because you have to get it really kind of elasticy, and if it's gooey, it just needs more flour poured in. It's going to be too... Now, this is the dough, pretty much kneaded by hand. I've done so. Get it nice and elasticy. See that? The consistency and everything there. That's what you want. Now here's your dough in a bowl, and I put a little of a non-stick spray around the bowl, and then I kind of picked up the bowl and kind of tossed the dough around so it gets coated. And then what you're going to do is cover it so it's in a draft-free space, and then it's got to raise for at least 2 hours, if not more, since it's a double recipe. Check this out. I think it's safe to say that that dough has risen big time. Now we got to get it out of there and start dividing it up. And look how big and round that is, and how thick that is. Holy cow, I could make a Chicago pizza with that. But we're not going to do that right now. We got to divide it into 4 little loaves. Now here we have our 4 loaves. Okay? And in the middle I've got a 1/3 of a cup measure, because I'm only going to do this. I'm going to show you once here. But I'm not going to take. You got to fill this but with a 1/3 cup of dough. So I'm taking it off this one. And the one I'll work with is this one. Okay, so I've got that to about a 1/3 of a cup filled. I'm going to shape the rest of it into a dough that'll work here. Because now, with that 1/3 of a cup, you're going to make your skull and crossbones. Okay, that's the big symbol of the Pan de Muertos. It goes across the top of it. I'm shaping my dough back into a nice little mound here where I took it off from. That's what you do. You make them into little mounds. This is a round bread. Okay? Here's the 1/3 of a cup. I took it out. I'm going to take it into 3 equal parts. Alright? And the first part, I'm rolling it into a little ball here. That's the skull. I take the dough, and I kind of put it smack dab in the middle. You press it down so that the stickiness can really help keep it from falling off. Then you take the other parts, the other 2, and they're going to be your bones. And you roll them, just like I'm doing right now, through your hands so that they start to extend, alright? And you just keep rolling them like that. Okay? There's the skull on the bread. And there's what one looks like in its raw form. And we'll talk about what to do with it next in just a minute. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, I'll do that quick here, is you take the skull and you brush it with a little bit of that egg mixture that you put in the fridge, and then you gotta press it down. You're going to use more of that egg mixture in just a bit. So now it's all pressed. Now it's all on there. There's the egg mixture. Well, there they are. There's 2, and there's 2 more. Now what you do is you take some of your egg mixture and you brush it all over the loaf. Okay? So it's nice and moist all on top and on the sides and everywhere. And you really, really get it moist. That's what makes it good and brown and soft on top. Okay? And yeah, normally it'd be whites and yolks and everything, but I use the stuff that's a little better for you. And then after it's nice and moist, you sprinkle a little bit of the sugar over the top of it. That gives it kind of a sweet top. Not a lot, just enough to kind of frost it over. And then just like we did earlier, they're all frosted over and everything. You cover loosely with towels, of course loosely so you're not crushing down. And then you let them raise for, another hour or so. And then they go into the oven. And look at that, they're done. skulls, crossbones, and everything. What I did is I uncovered them and I put them in the oven on 350 for about 35, actually 40 minutes, because it took a little another 5 minutes to get them brown on top. If yours happens to brown really quick, put some tin foil over them. Pan de Muertos, everybody. And boy, it's bittersweet to think of our loved ones, but it's a beautiful way to hand labor for them and remember them. And I pray for all of my friends, loved ones out there and everything. And I wish all of you a beautiful season of remembrance. This is Migueltio, the North Country Latino, saying it's time to bake bread. It's time to remember our loved ones in our hearts.